With that, I officially call to order the July 14th meeting of the CIP committee. Before we kick things off, I'll just remind anyone watching at home that this committee is just advisory, and any scores or prioritization agreed on here is just a tool for the town. Any capital projects still need to be moved to a warrant by their respective boards, town or school, and ultimately voted on by the town residents. Also, from the last meeting, just to reiterate, we're going to listen to the presentations tonight and ask questions to get to a preliminary scoring. Then once we've heard all the projects, we'll revisit the scores to finalize them in context of each other. With that, we will move on to the first item, which is approval of the July 8th meeting minutes. And I believe Art had a few...
Three things. Line 27, the motion carried 400, not 500, because Deb was not present at the meeting. And then the same thing on line 58, the motion, actually line 58, dropped the S after rug, so it's only one of me. And then the line 59, the motion carried 400. So with that, if no one else has anything, Mr. Chair, I will make a motion that we adopt the minutes as amended, and I'll leave it at that.
Got a motion? We have a second?
No, a second.
And we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
All right.
So 301.
301, yes. 301. All right. And with that, we're going to move right into our first presentation. All three tonight are from the school, the high school addition and renovation, turf fields, and a turf stadium. I believe the first one, what was the first one you were going to go with?
We were going to do 3 first, which is the high school.
Okay, so we're going to start with the high school and renovation.
So just to double check, do you want to go project by project? We'll do one project, you'll deliberate, then the next project?
Yeah, I think that's probably makes the most sense, right? We can, that way it's fresh in our minds, and then we can move on to the next one. So yeah, let's do that.
Perfect. And we did adjust the order. We're doing 3, 4, and 5. These are more of our long terms. These wouldn't be on this year's ballot for anything, but we do want them on the docket for the 6-year plan. And we are still having conversations at tomorrow night's school board meeting about 1 and 2, so we wanted to bring the most accurate information for those, which is why we switched the order. So these, we talked about Project 3, the high school renovation and the addition of an auditorium last year. We had done a facilities study several years back, and initially they had proposed like almost a super school, the biggest wish list for what the high school could be, which we had put on for over $100 million, and how that could go forth. But we decided last year that that was probably too grandiose for where we are in the community. So what we did is we scaled it back to where we really saw a need. So our high school in phase 1 is very much in need of changes. It's the original parts of the building, wood frame. You can hear when you walk down the hallways, the underneath kind of rattles, the door frames aren't level, so there's several safety concerns with that. And then the second part is the auditorium. It's been listed as an area of need for us. We're one of the only Division I schools that doesn't have one. For several of our music events, well, we have all of our music events in the gym. We have to rent out space for the drama club. And then we actually this year went to one of the neighboring communities to use one of their auditoriums, and it makes a very big difference for some of our performances. So we would propose to get this on record to have the renovation that would include phase 1 renovation, and then it would add on 2 stories to bring it up to ADA compliance for safety standards, and at the same time to have an auditorium. Right now, we spoke to the architects that have done a lot of our work, Frank Marinese, and he said, or Paul Marinese is who we speak with, but he said that he thought 40 million sounded reasonable for where we were right now, but obviously we haven't delved deeper into the plans because there's a significant cost to those as well. There is the potential for building aid on this project, but that is a process as well, and the way things are in the state, we're not sure how much we would get, but that is a possibility. So I did capture some of our different areas in phase one. There's a lot of classrooms in the middle that don't have any windows or space. They're just in that interior, so ventilation can get to be a problem. The bathrooms look very penitentiary-like. You can see the basement where we have a lot of storage is sandy, not great, and then you can see the bulkhead leading in the back of that area. So, and then the top is what we discovered when we replaced the carpet last year. There was kind of some holes and things that we discovered in there. So those are where all of our major concerns are with the high school. Anything to add?
Awesome. Thank you, Amity. So I'll open it up. To anyone who would like to ask questions?
I do have a few questions.
Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. Does the school have a building maintenance trust fund like the town does?
So we have several trust funds. Yes, we have one that for capital reserve projects that we have in there that they usually cover things like big roofing projects, paving, things like that we put in.
Okay, so I guess my question is, so do you fund this every year?
We put money in every year, but it's usually covering projects that we've got on like.
So you're not adjusting, the school board's then not adjusting the fund for the number of projects that you need?
No, yeah, we do.
We
Okay.
do, but not for this magnitude.
I understand, but let's just look at it as just the repairs and the needs of just the high school. Let's take the auditorium and put that on this table and just look at the high school piece of it. So I'm trying to understand.
Yep.
So, because I don't go to your meetings because they're on Tuesday. How much money do you put into that fund every year and on a regular basis? And is it all spent down, or do you have a reserve? Like, how much is in there?
So we have like a 5-year plan of different projects that are going to need to come up that we use during budget season to figure out what we could put in. It ranges from probably 300 to 700,000 that we'll ask for from voters depending on what goes through budget season and what the priorities are. We try and rotate the roofs at the different buildings, any safety areas of concern, anything that is aging out and reaching end of life. And we spend what we appropriate, and we might have some left over from saving some money and costs.
So I guess I'm confused. You know, I mean, why aren't you considering, you know, the age of the building and things that need to be, like you said, the door frame? Like, why isn't that being put into, as a smaller piece being added on every, you know, I know you guys just did that great outlook facility, so I'm
Yep.
not trying to be mean, but I mean, I was looking at the pictures of like the cement, it's all like chipped, like, I'm looking at it going like, those are easy, relatively easy repairs comparing to a big whatever. And so for me, understanding that, I just don't understand. Like, you're saying you put it into a roof, but how many times are you doing the roof? And if you're doing the roof every 5 years, is there a problem with the roof in general, and why aren't we looking at that? Because if you're spending, I'm making up a number, $10,000 every year on a roof, and the roof is still needing $10,000, then there's a problem with A, how you're doing it, B, who you're using. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
do.
I'm trying to wrap my head around how projects, or little maintenance projects, end up into these massive projects with big dollar amounts, and then it hurts the taxpayer, because if you're doing it in little chunks like you're trying to do with that new plan, it's much easier to swallow the palate and say, okay, this is what we need to do. And then you can sit there and look at something like an auditorium and say, well, the school's all done, and we even have some extra money because we've been doing such a good job here to do here. Because if you're thinking about it, to get in an auditorium, right, now that's more stuff that you have to take care of, more money every year, and it doesn't seem like you have enough to do what you're already needing to do. So I don't know where to go with that.
Hit on that?
Yeah, sure. And
I'm sorry.
I can follow
No,
up.
that's a great question. Roofs are funny. All our roofs are flat roofs. Our newest building is the gymnasium. That's 23 years old. Moose Hill's right behind it, it's about 25 years old. These buildings' life expectancy are 25 to 50 years old. So take Matthew Thornton, for example, part of it's 75 years old. What happens over time, and what has happened over time, and maybe things should have been done years ago, but we're moving forward, things start to fail internally. So you get more movement in the winter, more heat and contraction, more cold. So the roofs separate because you can't control what's happening internal walls and structurally on a lot of our older buildings. These buildings are used like 364 days a year between youth, parents, organizations, school kids. So these buildings are built, the reason they went with brick and mortar and VCT, because those are the longevity items that will take abuse and that. But now we're getting to a point where our newest building is 23 years old and our oldest building is 76 years old. So what we're happening is our maintenance costs are getting higher. You know, we got a $5 million bond 3 years ago. We're finishing that up this summer at the high school. That's just on HVAC and a little bit of electrical to get us so we can get through until we see where enrollment's going. And when, I guess the question is, when do you replace these buildings, right? So that's the other part of it, Deb, is you can maintain and maintain, but it's going to continue. When you have 700,000 square feet of building and it's used as much as it is, you're going to have these expenditures and they're going to rise no matter what you do until things are replaced down the road. Then you get your warranties and that for 5 to 10 years on electrical, on HVAC. So there's a lot of factors into this, and basically what the district's been trying to do the last 2 or 3 years with the maintenance trust bond and some of these improvements is how do we do minimal now to keep the buildings working until we see where enrollment is, and what do we do in the future on possibly replacing 1 or 2 elementary schools or replacing the 100s on the high school, as Amity explained, with the auditorium, because that's the right way to do it, is if you're replacing classroom space that now is 50 years old and they were modulars, you do it all at once. Now your maintenance on that end of it is going to become minimal. You're still going to have maintenance on the older parts of all the other buildings because you're constantly playing catch up.
I understand the maintenance piece. I have a hard time swallowing your pill of being old. I mean, I look at old schools like Harvard, Yale, Cornell, Pinkerton even, their original buildings, they're fine. They're, you know, it's not the building that teaches the kids. They're there just to facilitate a space and keep them safe.
Yeah.
What teaches the kid is the teachers. And to be very honest with you, I personally think that teachers need to be paid more, administration less, and buildings need to be done the way they are being done, but we need to be on a better track of doing it. I mean, you have old buildings in Boston and in Manchester that are very, very old, older than these schools, over 100 years old, and they don't seem to replace their roofs and things as much as we do. And it's not like you're using the roof. You're not going up on the roof.
So
I don't think that the walls inside affect the roof.
They do.
And we don't usually replace the whole roof. Some of our roofing plans, all of our roofing plans are pieces of the roof, the way that our buildings have been done. It would be an astronomical cost to do any of an entire roof for any of the buildings. And this project, the brick and mortar piece of the high school is good. That's why we said the original plan that we got from the facility study, we don't need to redo the entire building. But this section of the phase 1 that was the modular space and the wood frame is where we need to replace so that it can keep up with the other pieces of the building.
So do you guys intend to expand the budget if this passes, right, people, if it goes through? And do you guys plan on expanding your maintenance trust fund to cover the anticipated costs now for this new space? Because you're going to have to maintain it, right?
Yeah, so that would be in the operating budget. General maintenance would be in
Well,
the
you have
operating.
a building maintenance budget, right?
It's more for the maintenance projects that are going to be bigger ticket items, but we have within our operating budget, the general maintenance for up to certain amounts.
So building maintenance is in more than one spot in your budget, is what you're telling me?
It's all the buildings.
So each building has something in their bottom line budget or in their budget
Yep.
for building maintenance?
Yes,
For me, it would be great to see like what each school has, like,
it is in our budget book.
It's in the
so-
budget book,
I know, but it would
broken
be,
down by building.
it would be just nice to see year after year, like for the last like maybe 3 years. This is Matthew Thornton's has been this, and we've gotten this done, and this has been this, and we've gotten this done. This is because to me the biggest priority for you guys is your district building, and I didn't see it on the CIP.
It is.
It is, but it's
Oh,
next.
it wasn't in
It's
the-
at the next meeting.
I'm sorry, well, it
Yeah.
wasn't on the presentation. I'm like,
No,
that's
so
the
that's
critical
why
one. Why
that's-
isn't it here?
So that's what we, these are more to just have
This is-
awareness that we think in the next 5 to 6 years we would want on there. The project for the district office is a priority we'd like to see
Yeah.
this season.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to monopolize it. Go ahead.
Well, I've been through it. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. I had a tour of the facilities. You'll start to realize what they are facing over there. You do have to maintain buildings. And what we're talking about here is really the capital budget and the
Yep.
specific regulations and what makes it a capital project. So it's big. It becomes a warrant article by itself eventually. That depends upon what the town council and the school board determines. So, what we are doing is really, it's a planning tool for us. So if we were ever thinking, I know there's thoughts now of impact fees, we would have to have a
Certain
CIP
project.
to even think of implementing impact fees. So it's just a roadmap, so it helps the planning board in doing its planning also. So, and it's principally a planning tool. We aren't talking about money or anything. And I think we all know about maintenance. We've been through, I know in my past, we've been through school budgets and everything. I'm a former budget committee member. And you start learning this stuff, how a lot about finance and so forth. So I don't really have, I could quibble about little things, but it's exactly what it is little things, and I'm looking at the bigger picture.
And I don't really have any questions on this. I've been pretty tied into it myself, just by position. I do appreciate, though, that, from the original master plan has been brought down to what are the needs here, and that's to replace the old aging, as Bob said, original modular from 50 years ago. That's really a safety issue at this point. You walk on the floors and they're getting spongy, and to bring it up to that brick and mortar, that longer term that we're able to go into a maintenance cycle on and be able to do yearly work to keep that up, and to leverage our fantastic buildings and grounds crew that's able to keep all these bases still functioning and still looking great. So I am appreciative of that.
You think it'll hold up for another 5, 6 years?
So to Deb's point earlier, we do have the maintenance that we do on that, and they do prioritize. Like last year, it was the flooring in that area, so they put new plywood down. So they keep it functional and do that maintenance. So yes, we'll make what we need to work.
Can I speak again or no?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So this is why I said put the auditorium here, because I do agree that the older things need to get fixed. I'm just afraid that if it's coupled with that you're not going to get what you need, and then there's going to be a problem. And I know the new town manager wants to talk 5, 10, 20 years out, looking at impact fees and extraction fees and something else I can't remember, but there were like a whole list of them.
Execution fees.
There you go, thank you. But looking at things like that to be more
That's all
proactive,
case
and
law.
I know that
There's no
Bob, you've
statute
been
on
trying to
that.
get people to even sponsor different things, which is amazing. So that's my fear.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely. And I think that would be a discussion when we get closer to we're ready to pull the trigger. What are we really going to pull the trigger on? Like, I think the safety things would come first.
I agree.
But I think, you know, that the auditorium has been such a cited need for our community and the school for so long, but they are different in terms of
Yeah,
safety.
no.
And
I understand, and that's why I'm kind of trying to say it the way I'm saying it, because I do think that the priorities are structural safety and the SAU. Those are, to me, like number one.
Mhm.
And then the rest, they come later with maybe different venues, but I was just
That-
trying to help you.
That's why you guys will grade these where they should be with all the town projects and school projects. So we're just presenting this, you know, as an update, basically from 120 million to 40 million. We're not
Yeah.
looking for this, you know, enrollments change things too. That's
Yeah.
changed the whole district.
Did you guys get new projections yet? Any projections for enrollment?
Not yet.
With all
We-
the building that has happened in town, you have any new projections?
Not yet, no.
Do you know when that might be? Just curious.
I know the superintendent's always checking with, you know, the powers to be and all different parts of the community and who's leasing what with all these new apartments. So he has his contacts with Amity, and they're
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
keep a thumb on it.
Yeah.
So it's just an ongoing thing, trying to get updated as they fill them.
Yeah, I just think that, who's the liaison? Is it you or, who's the liaison to the council?
Me.
Yeah, I think that would be a good update to let them know, like, where we are, because it was brought up at the council meeting that, like, you know, we shouldn't do impact fees unless we have projects, and I think it's a chicken and an egg thing. You know, if you know that you're gonna be having impact fees, you're looking at the students, you're looking at needs, you can then start looking at projects that may have not been looked at because of the money. Do you know what I'm saying? So I
Absolutely.
kinda think that that's gotta happen together.
Hand in hand.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
it
Yep.
can't just be one or the other, it's gotta be
Yep.
like
Yeah,
this.
I think
Do-
Amity and the superintendent are constantly monitoring that and trying to get updates from, you know, real estate agents, you know, kindergartens, you know, preschools. We're trying to figure out what's coming into the district too. It's an ongoing,
No, I
battle.
totally get
So-
it, I'm just saying to keep people in the loop, it might be good if you did not a huge, like, 30-minute, but like, you know, 15, 20-minute little presentation once a month on, this is what's going on.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
just so we have it in
Yeah, I
our
have no
heads when
problem
we're
updating
having
you.
these discussions
Yep.
about impact fees and things like that.
Yep.
Does that make sense, or am I
Sure.
crazy?
And Dan does an enrollment report that he shares with the board regularly, so you could tie that. We haven't seen anything significant with the building that's already
yet.
occupied.
Yeah,
It hasn't impacted us like it was projected when they did that study
Yeah.
a few years ago.
yeah, but that's good to see.
Sure.
I mean, because I don't see
we
it
all
as a
need to know,
council.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yep. No, I can update you guys
that'd be great,
as I
thank
get
you.
the info.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I have a question. So what is NEAS?
So
Northeast
it's
something?
that's NEASC. I forget. It's they do the accredit. Basically, every high school in the area goes through a process every 5 to 10 years where a group comes in just to make sure that the school is delivering what it's supposed to students. So you get accredited. So you go through that process, and they give you not like a report card, but they tell you things that they suggest you do over the 10-year period until they come again to give you a new promotion, and every time. So dating back to our very first one, we were missing an auditorium. So it always is that one bullet item that they see every time they come, and we haven't been able to address that need.
You know where it would be possibly, or is this just?
So when they had the project that they brought to voters 10 years ago, whatever it may be, it was going to be off to the side of the cafeteria. But I think, so where the board meetings are,
Yeah.
off to that side where like that parking lot wasn't it going to be there?
Correct.
But I think now it's been so long, they would probably reevaluate to see if that still worked and go from there. But those were where we were shooting for then.
Okay, just curious. Thank you.
Well, kudos to the school and the teachers, because even without the auditorium,
Yes.
pretty much every kid graduates, almost every kid goes to college or a trade school, so even without it, I think our standards are pretty up there, so yay.
Yeah.
I know it could be better.
Well, you know, that was the piece when they got to go use as an auditorium, how much different it was. It's, you know, they are able to thrive and do that, but when they're standing in the gymnasium delivering their concert, and then you see them in a place that was designed for that with the acoustics and all that piece of it.
Yeah. No, I understand that piece, I'm just saying, but
They
to
get it
still
done.
be able to succeed even with a, I don't know, what's the golf term, handicap?
Yeah.
When you don't have something,
I
so
think
there you
so.
go.
I think so.
Any other questions?
I'm all set.
All right, so let's move on and look at our quick evaluation. So just to reiterate, this isn't our final evaluation of the criteria, so this is just our kind of working one until we really come back and look at all the projects together, then we'll finalize all the numbers. But with Amity and Bob here to ask questions to, figure we'd take a look to get a quick consensus before we move on. So with that, our evaluations we have, does everyone has it in front of them, right, that they can look at?
I'm gonna
Do you-
move over to, next to you.
I can, if you want, I printed this out, so if you.
Oh,
want
you're
to use
such a
it.
godsend.
It's organized.
He is organized, I am not.
No problem, no problem. So those are the numbers in front of you there. The addresses emergencies of 5, addresses deficiency of 5, provides capacity needed to serve existing population and future growth 5, results in long-term cost savings 3, supports job development, increased tax base 3, and then leveraging non-property tax revenue 0 and matching funds available for limited time 0, for a total of 21. With that, I'll open up to anyone who wants to question a particular one or wants to suggest anything.
So we're saying that this project is a 1?
No, it's saying the total project score is a 21 points out of a possible 35. So that's just what is there right now. We haven't put them against each other yet. So when we get to the end and we finalize, that's when we'll do those tweaks to kind of more prioritize against each other. So this is just the rough scoring that's being suggested right now. And we're just gonna, so the idea right now is to just kind of take a look and see, is there anything that looks egregious that we want to question why? That gives the opportunity for Amity and Bob here to be able to speak to it.
Yeah, that, my only thing was separating it, having an option A and B,
Makes
because
sense? Yeah.
I really think that, I know they don't want to hear that, but
No, and that's, I think, to exactly what Amity and Bob were saying. When it gets a little bit closer, that's absolutely on the table. and
that's the
something
only
that will
thing I
be-
can think
will
of
be looked at.
in my mind.
Mine outdated.
Mine is scored, is yours 24?
Mine's 24.
Yeah, it says
24.
24
Yeah.
here.
I got
Oh.
21.
Hey, you want your paper back?
Which one is
I
Sorry.
think you're looking at the,
You might be
Gonna
looking at the
high
next one.
school.
Yep.
I mean,
Oh,
Does
I'm
it say
sorry.
SAU at the top of the next one?
I'm sorry, I was looking over our shoulder.
I'm looking at
Yes,
it.
the turf field one up.
I'm
I'm
looking
gonna look
at
over
a
your
turf
shoulder,
field,
Sarah.
so.
So let me rephrase that. It was a 5533404.
Yep.
For a 24. I'm sorry, for
There you
those
go.
watching, I didn't mean to confuse anyone on that one.
No, now we're all on the same page.
Yeah, we're all.
Now we're all on the same page again.
There you go.
It is, to me, it is tough because you do group the auditorium, which is not, a school safety need, with an actual emergency, which is the modular stuff, so it's kind of hard for me. So that's all I have to say. It's just hard.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know we always had the auditorium as kind of separate,
Yep.
when it's always, at the sixth year anyway,
Mhm.
because we want to keep it on the CIP, not to lose sight of it, because I think there is probably there's a need for it, but it's not overwhelming. We can operate without it, but if we did have it, there certainly would be, it would enhance the
Mhm.
educational process and give us a facility where, even for, town meeting or something.
Yeah.
But we don't really have a
it's-
huge capacity
it's-
other than the high school
yeah.
gym.
It's still 3 to 5 years out. We haven't got into the nuts and bolts or even a committee yet. So this is basically both of them combined into that is,
So this is pretty much like a placeholder.
it is, that's
Exactly.
all it is. Because we have We have no idea, you know, we're hoping it can incorporate where the 100s are at that time, but it all depends on enrollment. It depends, you know, how it's accessible for community as well as school. So there's a lot of factors, and it's gonna take probably a year and a half of planning when we get close to this, but it's not even on our radar yet.
I mean, this is really long-term.
It's long-term.
Yep.
Yes.
Since the CIP is 6
It's just a
years,
placeholder.
I know,
Yep.
the way the planning board has felt, you know, we want to keep it at least in sight.
Yep.
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 And, you know, if we had like a, you know, a 10-year or a 15-year, it would probably be there, but at least we have to follow the statute, and that's the 6-year.
And I think when some of these projects were coming on, it was like we wanted full day K, we wanted the district office, and then this was in the docket, but now we've been held up with these, so, but we do want to keep that placeholder there.
So I guess maybe what I'm hearing is we keep these numbers as we move as we move forward, but maybe put a note of recommendation of an evaluation of separation as this comes closer, as it comes closer on the timescale.
I agree.
Does that work?
And I think as we get into, you know, like on the town side, but we'll eventually put everything together at the end.
Mhm.
We just don't want to leave anything behind
Mhm.
that could be, you know, is truly a capital project.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Awesome. So I think we've got a general consensus on that then?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I think that closed the door on the first project that you guys are presenting tonight.
Finally get to the high school.
So let's, and Art just got to the right one.
It's, you know, because I get different things that pop up from what I click on, so it's,
Oh.
I don't know what's.
All right. So Amity, we're going to go to the next one. Was the turf field the next one?
Yep.
Okay.
So
turf field
we
is the
did
next.
4 and 5. We split them. So we've got the turf fields is 4, and then the press box and grand stand that would go with that is a separate one. So, like the facility study, we did a field study that was approved by voters in our budget to look at our fields, because our fields are used all year long. With the schools, with the rec programs. Art Sleetis gave his presentation last week and talked about how much we work with the different groups in town for our fields, and our fields are immense. They're aging. They were put together by a wonderful group of volunteers that may not have all had the engineering background, but they had the grit and the time, and they made them wonderful. But there are spots that that have become unsafe in our fields, and we wanted to kind of prioritize a plan like for our buildings for our fields. There's a lot of overused fields. We've seen it depending on weather. They also become a safety issue. We are one of the only Division I schools that doesn't have turf. Turf basically becomes something that you can use with different weather patterns. It doesn't get the overuse that destroys it like the other fields do. So by investing in a turf field, you're also investing in the other fields, because when you're using the turf, you're getting to rest the other fields so that they can be used longer for their respective sports as well. So we spend a lot of time talking about this. We feel like it is very important to our community. But we also know it's a huge cost burden. We know that it's a huge investment. So we do want to get it on the docket because we think it's important for our community. But while we are getting it on the docket, we are also working as a school district on a capital projects committee to try and solicit donations for something like this. So our hope would be that when we do bring this to a ballot, which wouldn't be this year, we are able to say, and we've raised half of it, quarter of it, all of it, if it's wonderful, so that we can offset the cost for the taxpayer. So we want to do a lot of work in the coming year to try and get as much donation money as we can. We've worked with legal services. We're starting to put a very formalized plan together to get that to happen. But likely there will be some cost that we would need to bring to the voters with that. So that's the turf field piece of it. Do you want to talk about that and then the grandstand? Okay.
I do.
Yeah, we'll start with this one, and then we can go to the second one. So, Deb, you want to start?
I'll be the evil guy, I don't care.
It's all just questions, it's all it is.
I know, but I'm always I question everything, that's my problem. So, how much is it, do you guys know? Because I know there's a fee to it, for maintenance for turf fields.
Yep.
Have we done a cost comparison to what it takes to maintain turf fields compared to what it takes to maintain a regular dirt field? Have we done pros and cons with athletes getting hurt? I know the light quick Google search I did, they said more people get hurt on turf fields than they do on dirt fields. And then my other question would be, it just went right out of my head. Oh, God. I'm sorry. Give me a second.
It'll come back.
I know, it's terrible. This is terrible.
I can answer your first question.
Yeah, go ahead, answer
Yeah.
those, why I think of that question again.
So we did work with Huntress. That was Huntress. They did the field study. It's the company that does this and specializes in this. So I think that you have to get used to practicing on turf, to doing turf the right way. And yes, our understanding was that this would be better for our athletes. You would have the things that you could expect. Our fields have a lot of dips and holes and different things that are harder. Like we do have a fund as well to maintain those, but to fill and to get it right, then you have a big rainstorm or a bad winter and you're right back where you started. Turf doesn't have some of those pitfalls. So while the kids are getting used to using turf, using that, then you can address the pitfalls on your dirt. So you would still be using the dirt fields as well. You just be able to preserve them. So, I mean, our coaches are very good with our athletes about teaching them how to get used to things, but different environments and different conditions, they have to get used to that. A lot of all of our Division I athletes, when they go to away games, they're playing on turf. So they're practicing on fields that aren't the same experience as to when they're competing at away games.
Yeah, right now it's us and Dover that don't have turf out of Division I. And Dover just approved, I think, 18 million to do their
No,
fields.
Alfred doesn't have turf, and they're Division I.
They're not Division I in most of our sports.
They're Division I in football.
Yeah, but that,
And we're
everything
talking
else.
about the football field, right?
But
So
we're
this-
talking Division I school. Yeah, this is for all.
Football field, right?
This is for field hockey,
That's
lacrosse,
the thing about turf.
soccer. So it's for all sports.
I guess I'm confused. Right now, is the football field used just for football, or are you allowing lacrosse to play on football field?
So right now, our field
Or
that
are
we
you
use
talking
for
about practices?
No, the football, so we have different fields for that. When we use turf, when we made this plan for this particular one, various sports could use it.
Yes.
Use the football field.
The
It would
turf
be
field.
a turf field that could be
So,
used.
I guess my point, where's it going then?
It's going behind,
The
if you look
track.
at the map,
If you look at the,
I can't tell where we are.
So this is the track.
you know where the
field.
track is, Deb?
So this is behind back where the old football practice field is right now. That's all dirt because there's no irrigation there. The plan would be to turn that in the first part into turf. Keep maintaining and keeping the current football field as a grass field as well as the track field as
So
a
we
grass
would have,
field.
end up with two, almost, football fields.
Multi-purpose, but
One
yeah,
would
if you-
be
if you
like
have
a
the
practice
ability.
field on dirt, and then the other one would be this one here, because this is the one you're talking about to put the bandstand,
Yep.
the bleachers and the
Yep.
press box, which you just did like not that long ago, a new press box, new concession stand, correct?
10 years ago.
Was it that long?
Yeah, 2015.
Okay.
Time flies.
It does.
But
But-
this is the first step,
Yeah,
would be to get the field.
the fields, correct. And you can use it more of the year. We rent space constantly in the spring and in the fall, depending on the weather, because it becomes too dangerous when the fields are wet to
I'd like to
practice
see
in that.
those numbers.
Huh?
Like, I'd like to see the receipts and stuff, like, I'd actually like to see what we're spending on that and who we're paying it to.
Yep, I have that, it's in the,
No,
it's in the
I'm
budget
just,
books.
I'd
Yeah,
like to
yeah.
see it, that's all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely get more use, especially with the youth as well. Plus being able to use these fields, later during the year, and earlier in the spring will get us outside sooner with our kids rather than in the bubble in Goffstown and Hooksett. Because usually the first 2 to 3 weeks, all the youth teams and all the high school teams are inside renting space because the fields usually have snow or not safe to play on until the frost is gone. And you start middle of March. So the fields take till first week of April roughly to be ready, second week of April, depending on the winter. So we're all inside. All high school sports in the spring are inside. And with the turf, you can brush it, you know, with the tractor, and you can get teams on there up till 8, 9 o'clock at night using those rather than paying for travel to go to these facilities and that to be ready for their spring season early April. So
So I'm gonna ask you a crazy question. If it came down to it, if you had to pick one or the other, which one would you go with? The fields or fixing the school?
I think
I'm just asking on a personal level.
I think if you prioritize, you're probably looking at the safety needs of the school first. Let's get back, I would go back to what Arts Lita said last week, that you feel bad asking for this because it seems like it's an extra. But we have so many kids who are involved in athletic programs. This really is not as important as their school day, but it's a big part of their whole school experience and what they're doing.
So if you had to pick between this and the auditorium, which one would you go with?
I don't think we're here to pick.
No.
I mean,
In my mind, I'm trying to
I
understand.
think it gets us out of the realm of doing capital planning.
yeah.
Well, no, all right, it really, because I'm trying to
We're
understand.
talking about money or anything. We don't rank them that way.
Right.
So I think we have to be very
I'm thinking about
objective
usage
this.
and which one's gonna get used more.
Yep.
So in my mind, for ranking, knowing which one is actually gonna bring more use
Yep.
to our community, for me, it's a benefit. I don't get to see all the numbers that you're seeing.
Yep.
So I'm asking that question so that I can understand, like, okay, they're both neat and they're both great to have, but if we have to pick, and some, you know, I'd go here to here, because this is gonna have more use, where this would be, so when I'm doing, that's just how my mind works.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, I understand what you're talking about these things, but I'm trying to see who benefits the most from it, to be able to place it in the numbering in my head.
I think there's benefits on both sides of it, educationally wise and athletic wise. They go hand in hand, but you've got a major capital project of $40 million that's going to take several years to plan. And you've got other areas like this at approximately $4 million, a little less than $4 million, that can take care of a lot of needs. Meanwhile, while you're planning for your major expenditure, and things change as you put this together with enrollment and that. So they're all a need. That's why we're here. We're presenting them. We can't really rank them. They're all, if we could have them all tomorrow, we would welcome that, because they're needs today. But we have to work with the town, with our taxpayers. We're trying to plan and do it the right way.
And that's why I'm trying to get you understand where I'm trying to.
But you've got
put it in
you've
my
got a
head.
40 million to under 4 million. So do you want us
That's why I'm
to?
trying to ask what's,
Right. If we could say all 5 projects are X and we want it on the ballot next year and do it over the next 5 years, great. But we can't. It's not feasible. It's not right to the taxpayers. So
No,
we're gonna
I
put them out there and let you guys kind of rank them and come back.
and that's what helps me rank them in
Mm-hmm.
my head, is actual use.
And this is a great project. The turf is a great project for a capital projects committee to solicit donations, right? We're doing a field. It's harder to go into the community to say, we're gonna build a $40 million renovation project and we'd love your name on a door. You know, so we feel like there's businesses that would target this, as well as several of the youth groups in town that would help contribute to it. Where the school really feels like that is more of a community warrant thing that you would go through. So I think it's just different ways of funding them, but
No, I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying, and
you have
that
to
made
look-
it a little bit better for me to wrap my head around, because that's where I was trying to figure out.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to look at the funding mechanisms on here also. That's part of it.
I get that part, but we also have to look at use and which one's gonna be more viable for the town and the school.
and all 3 of those projects would get huge use.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have musicians, we have athletes, we have our students. So it's hard because we all want, our school buildings are a priority, right? Because
Right.
everybody needs them. But then when you start to get into the who's gonna use it, it's equally important for our musicians and our athletes to have great opportunities. I think the fields are the most, we don't have an auditorium, that's a missing need. The fields we have some issues that, if not, we are investing in them to get them so they are safe for our kids, but it comes with a lot of work and a price to do that.
Okay.
I
Thank
do,
you.
to that point, I do wonder too, how many community events would be in our auditorium, right? Like, we don't have that ability to assess right now because every community event that would be auditorium-based right now goes to Derry or goes to Wyndham or makes do, with kind of wherever they could fit themselves. So it'd be interesting. I would actually be curious,
Yeah, I just
like
think
from a
it-
pure curiosity point of view,
Well,
like
that,
how
and it
many
helps
town
you-
events, I bet you there would be a substantial amount of community events too, on top of our local musician and all that would
But
take
it
full
helps you
advantage of
wrap
that.
your head around.
Oh, I agree. I'm agreeing,
things.
yeah.
And
No, I know.
that's why, I don't know, like I said, the way I see things is
Yeah.
way differently than Art. Art sees numbers, I don't see numbers, I see how it plugs into our town.
Yeah.
And so how people would be like, excuse me, how this is awesome, we need this because, you
Yep,
know?
yep.
And, I think that's the piece that's, to me, is missing, is that, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So do you want to do this? We've shared where we are with this.
So let's take a quick look at the evaluation numbers before we go to the second part of the turf complex, I'll call it. For just the field part, making sure I get the right one here. Yep, turf field. For addresses emergency, public safety, or school safety, 5. Addresses a deficiency in service of facility, 5. Provides capacity needed to serve existing population or growth, 5. Results in long-term cost savings, 3. Supports job development, increased tax base, 3. Leverages non-property tax revenue, 0, and matching funds available for limited time, 0. And that's the one that brings us to a total of 21. So based on those 5, does anyone want to ask any questions as to the mindset behind us?
For the turf one, the one that says supports job development, increases tax base, how do you see that?
I think it's just having, they're kind of like abstract. I wish Kelly were here to kind of talk more about it, but I was thinking of like the coaches that you would have in there to be able to support. It might draw more of them to us to be able to offer that. And it would save costs for what we are paying out to rent, for what we are paying for the maintenance on some of the other pieces.
Well, we don't know that for sure, because we don't know the actual cost to maintain, well, I don't know
Yep.
the actual cost to maintain and how often you'd have to fix and repair the turf fields.
Yep. So we, just to put your mind at ease, we have had that talk with the company that did the studies, and our plan would be to build it into the initial costs so that it was taken care of.
Okay.
I mean, I could quibble about like a point or something, as I say, but I don't think it makes in a bigger realm of how we're looking at this, it doesn't make that much difference. It's like where we would draw the line. I think this is, there's some subjectivity to it anyway. So
Yep.
I think once we start looking at everything together,
Yeah.
things will gel a little bit more, but, I think it's a fair evaluation. You're kind of middling in your total score for,
I think that those 3 should be 2s. Oh, I have,
There you go.
I'm going back and forth. I just think those 2 3s should be 2s, because you're still gonna maintain those other fields. So it's not like they're replacing those fields. You're still gonna have to maintain the dirt fields. So that cost is still in place, and now you've added another cost. So I can't understand the
So-
long-term savings, and I can't understand the job, like, it's not really creating new jobs.
So just for the cost of the long-term cost savings for that piece of it, the big part of the field study that came back to us, the number one thing we could do to help our fields was to give them rest, which doesn't have a cost, aeration and rest. So I
Right, but
think,
you still gotta mow them,
Mhm.
fix the, what do you call it, the little woodchucks and things that put holes in them, and
Mhm.
you're still gonna have some level
Yep.
of cost to them. So that's why I said from a 3 to a 2. Because I think that plays into it.
I can remember from the days of Bob Lincoln,
Yep.
even Art Salatus also. This was
Correct.
back when they took care of the fields over there.
Correct.
You gotta give the field a rest. You gotta
Yeah.
have several fields. You rotate them,
Yeah.
and they last longer.
Yeah.
You don't,
Huntress did a nice
when's the maintenance?
layout for us with maintenance program on all the fields and how many months they have to rest for growth, so we can prolong the life of them a little bit. But having the turf field, we don't have people on them early in March, early April, where they're beating them up, and if it's muddy or dangerous, now you got the turf where you can practice, you can have games, you know, and we are a Division I school, and we compete against all these teams that are on turf fields, and they're on them a lot earlier than we are.
And we still
And-
win, right, Bob?
What's that?
I said, and we still win.
Well, I could argue that in a lot of areas, but that's not for tonight. But if you're going against a team that's turf ready and that they're on the fields a lot sooner on a full field practicing than we are. Don't forget, when we rent the space, we're sending 2 or 3 teams to use a full field. Out here, we would be able to have a team using half a field. So it definitely, the longevity of having a turf and the use you're gonna get out of it will result in a long-term cost savings to the taxpayers. And that, especially for our youth teams, our high school teams, our middle school teams,
Well,
so.
you can have your opinion, I can have mine. I
Yep.
don't believe so, but I'm
Yep.
not saying we shouldn't have it. I'm
Yep.
just saying I don't think it's a 3, unless I saw numbers, and I haven't seen any numbers
Yep.
to justify that.
When I see a 5, I think of like super urgent. I don't think it's super urgent. I mean, this is just to help us score, period, just for that. So when I see a 5 addresses an emergency, public safety, or a school safety need, I see your reasons why it is unsafe. I just don't think it's that urgent in my head. So maybe a 4.
Okay.
That's it. I do see the need. Otherwise, I'm good.
So we want to talk about maybe taking one of the 3s down to a 2 and the 5 down to a 4 for the top one, and then with that,
Happy with that.
That's my 2 cents. I mean, I guess we all have to agree, so.
yeah, so I mean, I would be okay with that as we kind of settle in, knowing that this is kind of a,
And it could change if they show us the numbers that
Right.
actually back what they're saying. I wanted to see the cost
yeah,
comparison.
I know we can get that, we have those numbers to show, so I think we can get that, and this is just our short-term one for now anyway, so, but I think if that's, we'll get us to a
Yeah,
comfort level.
I could agree with that, so.
Okay, so let's go with, for the first one, we'll bump that to a 4. And then the
2 and 2 for the, with the 3s.
2, 4, 3s.
So we have 19 for a total score.
Okay.
Still in the middle.
And then to Deb's point, if you know, if we, when we get the numbers, I know that I've seen them, but if we can get them together, we can show like.
So I just want to be clear,
rental
you,
costs and the cost to, you know, in 10 years to redo a field, what that
Okay.
costs to strip it and to redo it, because we're looking at long-term savings, and if we burn out a field, what's that cost to replace?
Yep.
Those types of numbers, I think that'll be a good, I think that'll justify the 3, but without that, I see your point.
so we're clear. Do you want me to bring those numbers to the next session where we talk about the other
Yeah, you're gonna
projects?
be
or
here
at the
anyways,
end?
if you want to
Right,
bring
once
it to
they
that
start
one.
putting together like the spreadsheets stuff. to
Okay, so for the
balance
last meeting,
You know, because they have to balance the tax impact also for
Yep.
for the projects.
and you're looking for what we would, maintenance costs for turf and,
Versus maintenance costs versus turf.
Yep.
Like what you have to do to maintain it.
Yep.
And then, you know, where your savings are, as you said, like we're saying, you rent out all these things, it's good to have backup documents. You know, you can say it, but it's always good to be able to have the receipt to
yeah,
prove it.
no, we have all that.
And,
That's in these reports.
So I mean, in my mind, that's what helps, and I'm sure it will help
I
people
would also
in the
love,
community be able to embrace more if they can actually.
yep. I would also like to share with you the number of teams and youth organizations that use it. So that, to me, that's where the safety piece might come in, because we have a large number of children from 4 years old to seniors in high school.
And which one's a school and which one
Yep.
aren't, that would help too, because we might not know.
Yep.
My kids are long gone from school.
All right, I think we're at a good spot on this one.
Yep.
All right, Amy, you want to hit the third
Yeah,
third
yes,
one? You're up
yes.
again.
Yeah, so this was, we had decided to kind of do this in phases because again, we do plan to approach community members and businesses to try. So we wanted to focus on the field first. We saw that as the biggest need. And then the second part would be the lower price tag of the grandstand and press box area. So they quoted that at a little over $800,000 with that. You can see where that would be. It would have the ADA, more ADA compliant seating for people, the safety of having coaches up there, some facilities for the teams to be in, all of those things, kind of the package deal to make it good for spectators, coaches, teams, visiting teams, and then where the actual play is. So this is just separating the two. So if we have great success with donations for the field, say we get it on the ballot and it passes, then the next phase of this approach would be, now we want to try and get some donations for the grandstand and the press box area.
And won't you need a concession stand?
It would be part of that. Yes, yes. We sure do.
Well, I'm just
And
saying,
we get
what,
a
are you
lot
gonna
of
make
money
them walk
back.
all the way back over to go get a hot dog?
Yeah, no, no.
Exactly.
All of
Either
those
that or you
pieces.
get food trucks, which I think are much better, and you get a piece of what they
Yep.
sell,
Yep,
and then you don't have to maintain it, you don't have to take care, they just drive your truck, park here. You should put that in your plan.
put it there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm serious.
They've taken good advantage of that with the Gridiron Club for sure.
Yeah.
So this was just to phase it out, to make it two different places, and then to kind of split the cost, because we feel like the field is a priority. So we want to focus on getting that there first. That's the safety need. But having that ADA compliance is important. That's a safety need as well, because, you don't have teams without spectators and coaches and all the people that are going to come to watch and support. You see that at every game we have. There's all
We're
sorts
only
of people.
doing one side, our side?
Yes.
There's only one side? No.
No, there would be bleachers.
Well, I'm looking at the
Yes.
picture.
Yeah, there would be bleachers on the other side, like what you see
Is that
at
included
Pinkerton.
in the 8?
I think we already have bleachers that we would probably, the
Yeah,
bleacher seats to put out
Portable
there.
ones, but that would be probably where the team rooms and the concession stand went underneath them on the major set.
Okay. I was just trying to understand where it would be on this.
Yeah.
Should add that to the picture, like in a gray color or something.
Let's put it there.
Just,
Well, I don't want to misrepresent, because I think those would be parts of things. We already have portable bleachers and things that we put
Correct.
for there. This is the money would be building what is circled in the
no,
red.
that's why I said in gray, like it's not there, but we have the ability to move something over there
Yeah,
for that, so people get a whole concept of
what they're gonna see.
what you're doing. And we can't move the scoreboards, can we?
No, the scoreboard would be, a new scoreboard would go with the field
Okay.
and lights and that, so.
So, yeah, so
Yeah,
there's more to it.
you gotta light it to get the use out of it.
But they're included in the,
That's in the package.
That's in the
The-
floor?
It-
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
so there's not a lot much more to say
No.
on this. This is just the other piece.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions on the project? And then the evaluation criteria for that are pretty similar to the last one we looked at, only with the address emergency public safety or school safety needs are 4. All the other ones are the same. So I guess we could want to revisit any of those on this one? Are we looking at the same
I think
thought
we could
process?
go for the 3s to.
I'm gonna say the same thought
twos.
process around the 3s
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah.
The other ones all make sense to everyone at this point?
Match Imagine funds available for a limited time. What does that mean exactly?
Had this
It's supposed to be
conversation last
Usually
week.
grants, I think, right?
Grants?
Yeah,
We
like-
get those grants for this stuff, but I mean,
That's why it's a zero.
that should be added, that you're gonna go looking for.
So that was, we
Is
can't
that where that
guarantee how much,
goes?
we don't know what we're gonna get with that. So
Yeah.
certainly, after next year, when we come to you next year and we see what we've been able to raise, we can
Yeah,
adjust
Which
that.
I think is I applaud for that, that's great. But that's why those definitions with the key would be good.
Yep.
So that they're clearly understood what this means.
Yep.
So that we're all on the same page, but, yeah, okay, I'm fine.
All right, so it sounds like we got consensus on this one?
Yeah, so we got a total of 18.
18 for this one, yep. 18, or is it back, or is it the same as last one, 19.4? We went down just to
We
two,
got
the 3 and a 3, or 2 and a 2, that's 1 point, 1 point, oh yeah, 18, yeah, so that was at 20. We have was last one 18 too? I missed that?
No, the previous one was 19.
What was the difference?
And then,
Went
oh, I think
difference?
up here, what was 4 at the top was a 5 on the
Yeah,
previous one.
The
Yeah, we
thing on the
knocked down
top.
3 points from the other one.
Okay, so they're both at 18 then. Right? We were at 21, knocked 3 from the other one, brings to 18.
The other one's 21, we knocked down 30.
So the 18, 18.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay,
18.
there we go. That's where my head was at.
Yeah.
All right.
So
All right,
they're
so now
18,
we're-
18, but I think to Deb's question on the earlier one, we would advocate that the field is most important for us on this one.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yes, and I think that'll.
Yep.
I think that cost savings, once you've shown it,
Yep.
we'll show that in the points as well. Awesome, so I think that is it, unless there's anyone, before we close it out, does anyone have anything else they want to bring up, or questions or anything?
Okay, our next meeting is on the 28th. Lynn won't be here, and I won't be
Thank
here.
you very much.
Okay, oh, thank you. Okay, so we'll be at 3, is everyone
So
else?
3 is still a quorum.
Yeah, the 28th, does everyone else still work for the 28th work?
Yeah, Tuesday
Okay.
didn't work,
Yeah.
it's a Tuesday.
Okay. All right, then I think we're still okay. If anything comes up between now and then, obviously just let us know. We can figure it out.
That's good.
Awesome. All right, so with that, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. All right, 4-0. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tammy, Bob, thank you so much, as always,
Now I
for
gotta
all
go
your
to the
time and
rec
everything.
meeting.